Hello everyone, Daniel Kerr here. So yeah, I promised an FM synthesis video, and the Korg ESX doesn't have an FM synthesizer. So have a good day, guys. No, I'm just kidding. It really doesn't, but I wanted to demonstrate how you could kind of simulate FM synthesis with the Korg and pretty much any sampler or synthesizer in a way, right? Not you know, if it's a sampler, it's going to be a little easier because you can resample, but FM synthesis is a little bit hard to understand for many people, and really, in reality, all you got to do is just think of it along the lines of frequency, which we know as pitch, modulation. So it's kind of like going up and down in pitch like a vibrato, right? FM synthesis is essentially a super fast vibrato, okay? There's going to be a little bit of noise in the back. I got a family, and they're all here. And so that's that. Here's what I have done. I turned the Korg off, and I held down solo and right and initialized the unit. So now when you go to samples, there are no samples in the machine. Okay, the first thing that I want to do is I want to record the tiniest little bit of sample, right? Turn it down to the tiniest increment of samples, truncate, and save that to slot 000. The reason why is because when you go into pattern mode, they always give you that first 4 bars or the 4 on the floor here. Can you see it? They always put these notes in for you. That's ridiculous, and I hate hearing the drums or whatever you have in that sample slot like repeated when you're trying to work, right? Anyway, that's just has nothing to do with this tutorial. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to global, and I'm going to go to the card, and I'm going to load a wave file, which is the Adventure Kid Waveforms Perfect Sine Wave, right? So I'm going to put that in there, and I go to sample, and here it is. Whoa, nothing. Oh, we got to go to the next one. Wait a minute, what happened? Oh, let's do it again. Load. Wave, Adventure Kids, yes, and load to number 1. That's what I forgot. Okay, here we are. All right. Love that sine wave. Here's the thing about it, okay, is that because these Adventure Kid waveforms are recorded in 24-bit instead of 16-bit, they are a little bit off on the pitch. So we're going to go down to sample tune, and what you do is it starts off at A, and if you go, the default note at C is an A, so we're going to go up, 4. Sample tunes, whatever that is, and write it. Okay, now here we have the sound, and like I said, frequency modulation is really just a modulation of pitch. So right now, the default modulation section over here, default is at pitch. The depth is at 0, and it's kind of on what we call a sine wave. The closest thing we have to a sine wave in the SX, and that is the triangle wave. So I'm going to set it to, you know, kind of slow speed and turn the modulation up. Listen. Okay, speed it up a little bit more. Okay, it's rising and falling in pitch. That is FM modulation, okay? The thing about it is that FM synthesis does that so fast that it introduces all kinds of artifacts and weird aliasing in the sound, which is desirable for FM synthesis. Okay, now listen, I'm going to speed it up. See, okay, by that point, it's already become an oscillator in and of itself, right? Listen. Okay, let's go a little higher. Okay, so that's an oscillator. If I speed it up even more, it becomes noisier, if you will. Listen. Okay, that is FM synthesis. And if I turn the depth up, okay, there's obviously a sweet spot, right? Let me turn it all the way up. Let's try some different waveforms, right? Right now we're in triangle wave. Let's try sawtooth. Almost the same. Let's turn the speed all the way up. See, that's very, very FM sounding. Let's try this, the square wave, which is basically on again, off again. So up, down, up, down. Wow, listen to that. Now, here's the thing with the pitch. If we turn the depth down, listen to the C note. When you hear this, not all the speeds are going to give you that same pitch, right? When you're working with a DX7 or even operator in Ableton, you find that increments of 4 basically will preserve the root pitch a little bit better. So when you set the pitch of the modulating signal, you can it's usually a default is at 1. You can go to 0.5, which is also basically brings it down 1 octave. 2 is fine, but then after that, 4, 8, 16, 24, they all, you know, if you set them to other speeds that are not in those increments, it begins to drift from its original pitch and actually doesn't even chromatically play the same scales as the 12-note octave that we're used to. Okay, so let's find the sweet spot in the speed. We'll turn the listen to it now. Okay, that's with no modulation, and let's turn it up. Okay, it looks like a less depth preserves the original note a little bit better. And it will find a sweet spot in the speed. Okay, now let's resample this. Hold Shift, go to record. You don't want to hit here, you want to hit the note here, down on the keyboard. Here, let me back up a little bit. Let me pull this back a little. Try to get more of the unit in there. All right, there we go. So you want to hit the keyboard down here. Listen. Okay, now we have this. Let me turn the depth down. Okay, let's go down and set the loop point. What I'm doing now is I'm adjusting the endpoint and loop point to try to decrease that click. There we go. That's pretty good. Right here I'm going to shift, truncate that piece, and I'm going to write it to number 2. Okay? So from here, let's add a little bit more FM modulation. We'll leave the speed right where it was at, and we'll go from the square wave, which we're using, and we'll go up to sawtooth wave. Now listen. That's kind of strange. Let's go back to square. That's pretty interesting. Kind of cacophonous when you get higher into higher notes. Let's try to find a better speed that's more in line with the pleasant sound. That's kind of amazing. We could resample that. But I'm fairly certain that we would have to adjust the pitch. Okay, let's shape it with the filter a little bit. Let's try going to negative depth. So all that sounds pretty crazy. That's a pretty strange sound. Let's resample that. Okay. Turn the depth down. Okay. Put the loops. Go up to endpoint. That's pretty good. You know, at this point, to preserve, to add more artifacts, right? We can go higher. Beautiful. Let's resample that. Okay. And now, because it's at the highest point of the keyboard, we'll go up higher from here. Now we're starting to get into more traditional FM sounds. So let's set this loop point. You know, the start point, sometimes in resampling, moving it up to the holding shift and moving it up one increment really helps, right? Listen to that, all right? We finally got to FM synthesis, right? And it sounds pretty amazing. Let's try the filters. Okay, let's resample this. All right. Actually, let's go lower. Man, that sounds great. Let's save that to number 4. Okay. Let's go to a pattern and let's reintroduce some sub into that. Okay. What we'll do is we'll go to keyboard part 1, turn on the metronome, and we will set it to that Adventure Kid. And we want subs. Ooh. Okay, we'll do it in C, and we'll go. Actually, you know what? I'm going to redo it with no tail. Okay. Now I just have a solid sine wave, right? So I'll do the same thing over here, but I will use that last one. Okay. Huh, really? Okay, hear that? Let's mess with this a little. Notice that I had to deviate from the C note. I didn't, when doing the FM synthesis, I'll probably have to adjust that again, but I really needed it to It kind of drifted from the original pitch, whatever. Now I can resample this, okay? Let's listen again. Let's make sure we have these levels correctly. I want a lot of sub in there. Yeah, I'll keep all this. We'll keep those artifacts. In fact, let's go to bandpass plus and mess with it. What that does is that gives you a filtered bandpass, a bandpass filter plus the original signal. Just to try to get some more artifacts. In fact, let's throw some effects on it. Let's go to compressing, which is kind of crappy on here, but ooh, that's nice and loud. Okay. Ooh, okay. When I sent the sub to compression, gave me some weird artifacts. Let's send all that to chorus and flange. Let's give it a really slow amount, a really slow speed for the flanger, but a really high depth. Okay, let's resample. Go to samples. Okay, let's go to the start point and truncate. We'll write that to number 5, and then we'll go to loop point. Perfect, and that's a C. I know that it is. Sounds so good. Let's go to pattern number 2, and let's put that. Too slow, or too short. Let's go to number 4. Okay, let's mess with it. Set some. Anyway, yeah, so that's some FM synthesis. On the Korg ESX. The next video, which is going to be in a couple of days, maybe sooner, is going to be on mimicking wavetables part 2. And then I have one afterward where I use resampling to try to mimic Mr. Bill's idea jams, which are really just extended sound design sessions, and we'll go over that as well. Yeah, send me an email at snowmetaluniversity@gmail.com. The link is in the description. That's how you can get some free ESX samples, or just samples in general. In fact, if you're watching this and you don't have an ESX, just send me an email anyway. I'll send you some wave files that I've made that are all original. There's also ghostwrittenclips.com. That link is in the description as well if you want to support me and purchase some of my packs. I definitely plan on getting a Deluge soon, and also Deluge, Synthestrom. Also, I want to get the Electron model samples, because I think that has a huge amount of potential that many people are overlooking. If you own either one of those units, right, and you want to see tutorials from me that are absolutely outside the box, right, that are definitely stuff that's not covered online anywhere else, then you would be doing yourself a favor to go to ghostwrittenclips.com and purchasing a sample pack or two because that will ensure that I get these units faster. Anyway, love you guys. Have a fantastic fall. It's almost fall. Woohoo! Talk to you soon. Bye.